You are listening to an All Games Radio Network broadcast of allgames.com.
Hi, this is Normie from Knuckleballer Radio and Zombie Cast, and you're listening to one of my favorite shows on the Geeky Antics Network. Don't forget to check out the rest of the gang over at geekyantics.net. Warning, there might be rants and food ahead and possibly inappropriate behavior. Don't tell anybody though.
Welcome, geeks, gamers, furries, and ninja robots. This is HorsePLAY Live. Today's Friday, October 20th, and this is episode 201 of HorsePLAY. And we're calling this one, Who's Your Kelly? Hashtag Kelly versus Kelly. Because this episode is brought to you by Kelly Bundy and Kelly Kapowski. We're getting a vote going. And this is where we're going to see really where our demographic resides. Because I reckon most people won't get this reference or just barely know of at least one of these Kellys. So it'll be a fun social experiment. Kelly Kapowski from Saved by the Bell, of course. And then Kelly Bundy from Married with Children. And yeah, you should be familiar with both of those shows. Well, at least one of them. At the very least one of them, I would say. One, I don't blame you if you didn't get into it. But I am your bald bear lizard host, Yogizilla, and tonight is likely just you and me, just us. We talk about all things geeky, random, and silly, and we're continuing our 3+ year and 200+ episode celebration. Word, yo. And as always, we're doing this show live on HTTP. I didn't even say that part. I think everybody already knows. HTTP is a website. I'm giving you a URL, twitch.tv/geekyantics. What else are you going to be doing on a web browser? FTP? Most people don't even know how to do that. I might get too techy here. But yeah, you can join us there. Twitch.tv/geekyantics. Again, twitch.tv/geekyantics. And that's every Thursday night, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific, 4 a.m. GMT. Ooh, just burped. And earlier in the day, over at allgames.com, the All Games Radio Network, at 5 p.m. they play our reruns. HorsePLAY Replay at 5 p.m. Eastern. At 5 p.m. Eastern, allgames.com. Check us out. And this show is, I guess you could say it's primarily, this is for the new listeners/viewers, primarily a comedy show. And as such, I think it's inherently not safe for work. You can't really be PG and do, or, you could probably be PG, but G-rated and do comedy, I know it's kind of tough. I think comedy by nature is irreverent. And what do you do? Go on the stage, do knock jokes, doesn't really work that way. You're gonna offend someone, especially in this hypersensitive world we live in. All the stuff that's going on just tells you where we're at. In fact, one of my favorite shows these days is an unlikely candidate. It's called Star. And I think a big part of it is I do find the women in there quite attractive, but just the setting is set in Atlanta, so it's close to home, and I think it's a struggle that people can relate to, coming from a not so great background and just trying to rise up above it. There's a lot of issues it deals with. One of the characters, I really like him. I think his name is Derek. He's a good guy, but his whole family It has this whole, like, you gotta fight the system, blah, blah, blah. Look at all the stuff going on in the world. And I'm not saying that stuff's not happening, but I think a lot of times we just stir the bee's nest and make things worse than they need to be. And Blue's right now just laying on my lap and just cleaning the crap out of herself, like aggressively licking herself. It's kind of distracting. I mean, she's just going at it, like super comfortable, just getting all the spots. You do your thing, baby. It's a tough time right now in the world. Just a lot of angst, a lot of differences that I guess people do not want to settle. A lot of division and segregation, a lot of self-imposed pain, really. And then you have real tragedies, like what's going on in Puerto Rico that's kind of being glanced over. And, I'm not saying there's probably some self-inflicted pain there as well. But, I mean, if you just look at the photos, just ask someone that that lives in Puerto Rico some photos, and it's crazy how everything's still in shambles. I forgot the exact numbers. I just read them last night, too, and I want to say something like 65% of the island still doesn't have cell phone coverage. Can you imagine if that happened in the States? It'd be anarchy. People would not know how to act. No cell phone reception. What? We've become very entitled, right? There's things we take for granted, and when we don't get them, we feel like it's our God-given right, And what would happen if we lost internet content? If we lost all the high-tech stuff we have, all the gadgets? What if we had to start from scratch, And you just think about what an adjustment that is. And a lot of my family and friends in Puerto Rico, man, they're still pushing forward. They're bouncing back. They're just making the best out of it. Some of them do have cell phone signal, but issues with clean water. Still places, a good portion of places that don't have power. But it's still, making their phone calls and posting on social media and smiling and making the best out of it. For what's going on, I would expect a lot more bitterness, right? But overall, at least in my circles of friends and family, people are really handling it well and being overall positive and, still care about others and their issues. We're over here worrying about first world problems, and they got something where it's devastating to the economy. But anyway, on to some happier news. Well, actually, I do have a PSA. A few weeks ago, we talked about the Equifax breach, which came close to overshadowing the Yahoo breach. Well, no, not really. The Yahoo breach has affected so many people. It's crazy that Yahoo had more users that were impacted by the Equifax data breach. That's nuts. Anyway, so if you haven't done it yet, go to Equifax.com and make sure you get your free security check to see if you may have been possibly impacted. And then there's a free, I believe it's called Trusted ID credit monitoring service that they're offering, to kind of make amends for everything. It's usually a paid service, and you get it for a year. It's pretty comprehensive from what I've seen myself, when I'm hearing from people. You can lock your credit report, which is something you could do with any good credit monitoring service. But then what's nice too is you could look at your 3 credit bureau reports, and it breaks it down in very simple terms. Your revolving balances, inquiries, accounts in good standing. You get a monthly overview and then the overall summary of those accounts, and then of course your accounts and collections and everything that's been closed, etc., etc. Very interesting stuff, and it's important, for our younger folks out there to be aware of your credit report, even when you're not looking to get a loan. You don't need to be shopping for a house or shopping for a car or a motorcycle or trying to get a loan for whatever purposes you may have to really look at your credit. It's something that you really should be actively checking. You get one free credit report from each of the major bureaus: Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, one a year. And at the very least, you should be taking that. And also, you get a free one whenever you have a credit inquiry. You're entitled to another one, so you can find out why you were rejected, for example, or why you didn't get the rates you wanted. So it's very important to, it's kind of part of being an adult is being on top of stuff like that. And we all get stuck in the daily hustle and bustle, right? So it's easy to kind of ignore that and just get caught up in things and take it for granted. But I can tell you from personal experiences, I've been through all kinds of this stuff, and I've taken lots of precautions and been vigilant of this kind of stuff. And even me, I had my identity stolen. That was not fun. Finally got that fixed, but gosh, it was a struggle. And I've had companies try to charge me again for things I already paid off. When you have charge-offs, they go to a third party to sell these debts, and then companies will try to cash in on a debt that's already been paid for. Stuff like that happens all the time. And you'd be surprised at the kind of stuff you find on your credit report. I found a house that I owned that I'd never even been to. So that was fun. So definitely recommend that, Equifax.com. And before you fill out any forms, always look for that HTTPS, so secure transfer. Any site that doesn't use that is usually suspicious. You want to make sure the security certificate is up to date. That's for the SSO connection. Watch out for weird redirects and stuff like that. Check those URLs, check the address bar, make sure that everything seems legit. And if it doesn't feel right, get out of there. There's certain kind of information they should not be asking these sites. So, that's another thing you gotta be wary of. But of course, for a credit report, you do have to enter your full social security number, right? So it's like, oh, okay. So proceed with caution. And there's things like Kaspersky and other antivirus internet security suites that will give you a secure browser that's fully encrypted and kind of a self-contained session, and will cut off any connections that are suspicious and stuff like that. And they work pretty well. I mean, nothing's 100%, but that's definitely a good way to do things. And anyway, that's all the housekeeping for now. Do want to welcome you all again to join us in Destiny 2. Thinking about hopping on after the show, but I think I'm just gonna hit the hay because tomorrow we have a family outing. We're gonna go to the Georgia-Carolina Fair, and it's also gonna be a company function, Employee Appreciation Day. Our CEO must have bought, I don't know, close to $20,000 worth of tickets for this event, plus catering, and we have our own tent, free parking, our own gate to enter through. So it'll be pretty cool. Gonna bring my small army there, and I'm actually pretty excited about it. First time doing something of this scope with my new company. It's not that new anymore. I blink my eyes and it'll be a year already. Time has really been flying by. But tomorrow night and Sunday, throughout the day, I plan to be getting it in, as the kids like to say. So we invite you to join us for the celebration. If you check our Twitter feed at Geeky Antics, I'm at Yogizilla. On Facebook, facebook.com/Geeky Antics, and we have a few Geeky Antics groups. Check us out. Feel free to join, of course. And we have a few discussions going on, some fun stuff. Like the hashtag Kelly versus Kelly, vote and write in. So not really taking a formal vote just yet. We'll probably put a poll up soon on geekyantics.net. And then we have other silly stuff like this trend going on now where people are posting this thing where they'll start a sentence off and say type in the sentence and then keep hitting the middle option on your autocorrect on your phone until it forms a sentence that makes sense. And it gets pretty silly. Let me see if I can read one. I don't think we got any submissions. We have one up on our Facebook page. I don't think anyone submitted yet. At least I don't see any submissions, any notifications. Let's see. Let me double check. And shout out to Dimitri Walker, artist based out of Georgia. He's currently in Chicago. We just missed each other. Oh, not just missed each other. It's been about 5-6 weeks since I've been out there. But he's enjoying some deep dish pizza. I still say New York City pizza is the best though. So this is the sentence I came up with. It's a nice run-on sentence. My friend Raphael, he said, right, Raphael stole my, and then just use the autocorrect. So my sentence came out to be, Raphael stole my heart, and I am so glad to hear that you are doing well, and that you are doing well, and I hope you are doing well. Kind of silly. And I kept trying to go further, and it just kept repeating. It was like an endless loop. So these learning these learning machines for the keyboards, T9 and otherwise. It's funny. I guess it shows how much you use or don't use your service, or your phone rather, because when I use autocorrect, I don't get that many exciting options. So I guess I'm pretty vanilla, I guess. Beard and Hat says New Haven pizza is best pizza, followed by Garbage Little Pizza, Little Caesars. I love crab pizza. I like New Haven pizza. I'm actually quite fond of Connecticut pizza. In another life, who knows? Maybe in the future I might move back up north. I do like Connecticut. It's like being in New York, but not quite as expensive and not quite as crowded. And it still feels rural enough where it's like a different change of pace. There's just so many pockets of ghetto you got to be careful with in Connecticut. If you don't know what you're doing. And I got quite a bit of family. I wouldn't say it's just not as expensive as New York City, but I know there are parts where I know Connecticut overall is one of the most expensive states. I think it's in the top 5 easily. California, New York, Connecticut. I forget the other ones. The other ones don't really matter. That's what I say. And the ghetto's bleeding out into the rest. Really, the ghetto's expanding? That's scary. That's a scary thought. Usually gentrification pushes the... Well, actually, no. Well, no, gentrification makes things more expensive and pushes the ghetto more to the outskirts. Because the more access you have, the higher the premium for the realty. But on a similar note, the closer you are to the immediate transportation, like the public transportation, the more ghetto gets. So it's a weird thing. Unless you can afford to hide in the hills. Yeah. Gentrification makes places safer. Why do I feel like you're being sarcastic there? Blue never really purrs, and she's like purring hard right now. She's one of the quiet cats. I'm like rubbing under her neck, under her chin, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's the spot." Again, it's a heads up. It's probably be a short show. I want to make sure I get a good amount of sleep, run some errands tomorrow morning, and get ready for the madness it's gonna be traveling tomorrow. I already warned the kids to not embarrass me in front of my coworkers. Of course, that's not gonna happen. So, gosh. I'm gonna have to pregame before I go to this thing. Show up all drunk. Hey, what's up, guys? Nah, I won't do that. I'll probably take some mild sedatives, just in case. Oh, man. So, what else do we got? So, I Am Banana on Destiny 2. That was fun. I think everyone in our clan that's active got their season rewards, so that was cool too. We did overall really well, but I noticed like that last day or two, the tryhards were like just ridiculous. Yeah, it was bad. It's like they just wanted to get those last minute rewards, and they did not want to get any losses. So it was brutal. Really competitive, but I enjoyed it. It got me playing harder. Peter says, I heard people complain about content already in the game lacking. Oh yeah. To be honest, it feels like Destiny 1 all over again. Like if you don't like the PvP, I think there's very little to do in that game unless you're gonna keep doing the raid over and over again. You know, and of course chores, your daily challenges, your nightfalls. You know, patrols when they refresh, etc., etc. So, yeah, the PvP focus is crap, but that's really, I feel like their strength would be in PvE if they really played up that shared world. Because it is really neat when you're doing activities and random people join in. They're just happy to be doing other things, right? The public events and all that stuff, right? But nope. They can't. They won't dive into a pure experience. It's just gonna be a little bit of everything, but no one thing really stands out. That's Destiny. At least Halo knows what it is. I don't think any, I know a lot of people that love the Halo campaign, but I think Halo really is about that PvP experience, that crazy bullet sponge shit. Yeah, they love it or you hate it. Can Borderlands 3 hurry up? Yeah. Yeah. Randy Pitchford blocked you on Twitter? Nice. Now you can't ask him to hurry up. Oh well. I was hoping Warchild will be able to pop in here in the midst of the show, but I guess not. Just a few quick headlines, and I'll probably wrap up. I still gotta say, Cuphead, fantastic game. If you haven't gotten it yet, jump on it. There was an issue with Xbox Live. I saw that in the headlines. Didn't bother looking at it. It didn't impact me. Apparently, there was an outage. What can you do? What was it? What was the PlayStation Network outage? What was it, like a month? You know, this was like a few hours. Again, you get what you pay for. So a bunch of people apparently have blocked Beard in the gaming industry. Good times. PS4 mini controller, that's a thing now. I was looking at some people were comparing it to the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons. The only thing I could think of, it looks cute, right? And if you're just being pragmatic, hey, you can fit like 2 of them, maybe 3 in your pockets, depending what you're wearing. But I just look at it, I'm like, what? They just made an uncomfortable controller more uncomfortable. I don't know. Those controllers make me my hands cramp up. Like it's like playing with the NES controllers, you know. At least that's me personally. I'm an old man, you know. Arthritis sets in. So I'd rather have the back-breaking huge UFO controller from the original Xbox than something smaller. Why make the controller smaller? It's not ergonomic. Unless you have really tiny hands, I don't know. But it is neat looking. Yeah, just let me use the PS3 controller. And I noticed that's a theme. A lot of people that really dig the PS4 don't like the controller. So I don't get this. Like, you know, do they survey the fans? Do they try to look at the feedback? Are they like aggregating all that data? Because it feels like every generation they'll introduce new things and add these features, right? And fix certain things, but they break more things than they fix. So like, I don't know. It's weird. All right, these things are good. Keep those things the way they are. Now build upon that. Do any companies actually ask the fans? No, but some at least look at the data points, you know. I don't know. R&D. And like I don't know. There's so much, big data. It's all out there, right? Just fucking put it together. Even if you just throw in an Excel spreadsheet and use some pivot tables. Jesus. Yeah, change for just change's sake. I agree. Let's just change things so people realize this is something new. There's other ways you could do that. I think Windows 8 is one of the good examples for Microsoft. Why you don't just change things for change's sake. Like Windows 8 was neat. It just wasn't practical. You know, I'd like it on like a tablet, but not on my desktop. And even Windows 10, like a lot of things in there, it's like the remnants of Windows 8. You know, just give me like Windows 7 Ultimate with the latest bells and whistles from Windows 10. That's a good operating system. That's what I want. There you go. Anyway, derailing over here. Another big thing that came out of the news, and I'm sure I'm missing some other big headlines, but these are some things that I happened to catch. And what was a very busy week that just kind of flew by. Which, mind you, yesterday I had 2 back-to-back meetings with the same vendor, but they had an indirect and direct channel. And some awkward shit happened, and they basically were fighting against each other. Like, but you're the same company. Sales is just weird. But interestingly enough, this company seems to employ a lot of like attractive cougars for their sales reps. So I had a regional manager of the indirect channel come in, and then a sales executive and her boss for the direct channel come in to attract the women. But I noticed the indirect regional manager, she's a lot more aggressive, you know, and like she's wearing a nice little bra, buttons are down, cleavage out, you know, and it's funny because the first thing I opened up with when I welcomed them is, hey, you know, we're gonna go to conference room, man. If you need a projector, we have that in there. And I said, oh no, we don't need that. And I said, no PowerPoint. What am I gonna look at? And the woman was like, you can look at me. I'm like, wow, that's forward. You know, it's funny. Salespeople typically flirt to the point where it's no longer cool. Like they push the envelope. And it's just funny. Like I don't know. They tread a very thin line, like Harvey Weinstein. You know, thin line. You know, and then they take you out to lunch or dinner and bring you cigars, expensive bottles of alcohol, stuff like that. The more expensive the gifts, the more you know they're gonna really get you by the balls. So I have a ton of freaking proposals and shit to go through to make a decision on this project. So that's gonna. So most of my week a lot of it was just freaking meetings and gathering data and just getting everything together to actually compare everything, you know, apples to apples. And then at the top of my normal duty, and then plus we're getting close to the end of the year, so lots of invoices and paperwork already. Oh boy, it never ends. Being an adult, it ain't easy, kids. It ain't easy. Do not rush your youth. I'm telling you. And that goes that you know, that goes for you 20-somethings. You still don't know what a life is yet. You think you have a heart now, huh? Let me tell you. College is easy. College is an expensive party. Enjoy it. Enjoy it while you can. So anyway, this is the next big headline here, and it'll probably end shortly after this. Yeah, Beard, they're definitely for to get the sale for sure. Since then I might do more than that. And I agree. For a lot of people, college is a waste of money. Unless the exception is if you really get into the fraternity side, the sorority side of it, like the networking side, and you form those connections, then you could be set, right? It's like a cult. But the actual stuff you learn, yeah, not so much. The quality of education is just crap, really. And I taught at the college level, and it breaks my heart to say that. It doesn't mean you shouldn't get an education, but temper your expectations. And there's other ways to get educated: certificates, licensing, workshops, industry events, on the job training. So many ways to learn stuff, and a lot of that's way more effective. Volunteering, that's another good way, Yeah, at the rates that the tuitions are going up, it's just ridiculous. It's putting people into debt for 20, 30, 40 years, crazy. So anyway, this is the headline. EA has shut down Visceral Games. And this is something where I had to bring this one up, because, yeah, I know it's EA. It shouldn't shock us by now. But fuck. Why would you shut down Visceral Games? So what does this mean? I'm scared to even dig deeper into this, because if this means we're not gonna get any more Dead Space, fuck you, EA. And I feel like EA just sticks to the same kind of shit: sports games and shooters. Can they do anything else? I'm still hopeful for Anthem, but their answer to Destiny, not much of a challenge to do better than that content-wise. It's got to provide more depth, right? But they have to make sure they have the gunplay on point. Activision is patenting predatory algorithms to force microtransactions. Oh, yeah. The microtransactions are pretty blatant. I mean, they have a whole vendor that's dedicated to microtransactions. It's not even like slipped into little nooks and crannies, like a shop that's dedicated to microtransactions. And they'll give you some of the premium currency, but it won't be enough to get anything. So yeah, that's a trick. They give you a taste, and they're like, oh, but I got 3,000, but I need 2,000 more credits in order for me to get this cool emote. Oh boy, I don't even know. So anyway, this Visceral Games thing is kind of, I don't know. It upsets me. Let's see what we got in the chat. Beard says, if you're not going to learn to be a doctor. If you're not going to be a doctor, learn a trade, or okay, if you're not going to be a doctor, learn a trade, or just read a few books and learn by doing. Yeah, it's called indentured servitude or debt slavery. I agree. I don't think gaming will die, but I think it's gonna be another industry crash. It's gonna be, what is it, 1983 all over again. You're gonna start seeing games in a bargain bin, 99 cents. There's still a lot of potential, right? But I think it needs to be a catastrophic event for the companies to finally realize, okay, we need to stop nickel and diming and really drive value in what we're doing here. The problem with that is the problem will be that it likely will get the companies to be even more conservative, right? They might learn the wrong lesson and just keep doing more of the same shit. They say, oh, well, these are the games that have been selling, so we'll just do these. Where really what we need to see is more innovation, more risk-taking, I don't see a reason why companies can't go 50-50. You have your flagships, your staples, your safe bets, and then you have your avant-garde stuff, so to speak. Yeah. Once their mainstay stops selling, it's over. But we keep voting with our wallet. That's why shit's the way it is. Because we say we want change, and then when we get it, we're like, ew, give me another Call of Duty. Yeah, and the mid-tier developers, that's really one of the problems, is that they're not really around anymore. So you either get indie stuff, and I know a good amount of it is garbage in most people's eyes, or you get the AAA stuff. So if we had a mid-tier, you'd have the more ambitious titles with the bigger budgets, but not, you know, multi-million-dollar kind of shit, you know? It's indie walking sims or walking sims with guns. Good times. Man, Blue is really relaxed. She's got like her head nested in my hand, which I have cupped on my lap, and I'm just rubbing the side of her cheek. And she's like making little fists with her paws, like, oh yeah, like her toes, you know, her toes are curling. We're just chilling. I'm drinking some beer. I'm loving at my kitty. Sounds dirty, but it really isn't. So yeah, you know, I know what my game plan is. Once shit really goes down the bucket and it's truly nothing to play, which we're not there now. Because I still like the online stuff, so that's gonna keep me entertained. But once I'm truly bored with that, I'm just gonna set up streaming for Dreamcast and buy every Dreamcast game I never had and play the shit out of it, and go back to the one that I have played and I do own. And I have a good 50, 60 Dreamcast games. And there's still a bunch of other stuff I want to get out there, like Alice's Dream, which is actually a newer game that released. They're still releasing games for the platform, which is really neat. It's like a Bomberman clone. Tokyo Bus Guide. I do not have all the Dreamcast games. There's actually a lot of games on there, Mister. The bunch that I never bought, but I have, like, Virtual On, Crazy Taxi, Choo Choo Rocket, Pen Triathlon, the Sonic Adventure games, which I don't get why people hate so much. Ill Bleed, Seventh Cross Evolution, guys, so many games that I can't remember. Skies of Arcadia. I would love to have an excuse to get back into that. I'm forgetting a bunch that I love. Oh, Secret of Lodoss War, fantastic Diablo clone. Just spectacular. Trying to think some other standout ones. Oh, Seaman. Yep, Seaman. And you go into Horde ROMs and make emulator boxes for after the inevitable tech crash. Yeah. Make some homebrews, you know? This will be the next thing. People are gonna have hacks of old games. It's gonna be like that's gonna be the post-apocalyptic gaming world, where it's gonna be there won't be any big developers anymore. So it'll just be like a bunch of like people that don't really know programming, just hacking existing games and making shitty mods of it. You know, because like all the real developers will like kill themselves. You know, and then black market console sales and shit. Some, like, I don't know, Blade Runner type of shit. I don't know. PS1 memory cards passed around with RPG Maker made games. God. And that block storage is horrible. Because Justin Fox, who we had on the show before, he made an RPG Maker game that I think he had to like load off of like 3 PS1 memory cards somehow. Some crazy shit. I don't know. I forgot how he did it, but that's crazy. And I remember with the GameCube, I kind of liked the block storage because I thought it was neat. But man, you just blow through those fucking memory cards. You know, VMU was cool because at least you could pop it in to the controller and quickly see what was on there and pop it out if it was the wrong one. Gosh, I have at least 15 VMUs. So whenever I get back into my dream game, I have to figure out which VMUs have the saves for which games. God, that's gonna be a pain in the ass. So like the VMUs were cool in one regard, and in another regard, it's like ugh. But if you have 4 controllers plugged in, you can have 4 VMUs loaded at once. So that was pretty neat. There's something about Dreamcast that just really resonated with me. The way it looked, the interface of it. Just, you know what it was? It was a console that really felt like a pure arcade experience. Every game was more like, let's just have fun, It felt close. It was very close to what I felt like when I was playing, the Atari 2600 or ColecoVision and Television. It's just simple, fun games, I think that's kind of one of the things we've lost. 360 had that, SMS Live Arcade I loved. What a great concept. And they got rid of that. They said, well, we shouldn't be segregating games. Games are games. And while I agree with that to an extent, I think there's certain kind of experiences that you should group together. So when you're in a certain mood, I just want to kind of just disappear and just like, just completely escape. Sometimes I may not want to even play online. So that's when those arcade experiences are great. Some of them do have co-op, but it's just a kind of little simple experiences where you could just get lost and not have to really think as hard. There's a lot of games that it's like overwhelming when you get into it. It's like, ugh, where was I at? And I gotta find this combination. I figure out this puzzle, and then by the time you get into it, it's like, I'm done. It's overwhelming, right? It almost feels like a job. And they got the MMO style games, the shared world games, whatever. They all have similar issues, right? Whatever they want to call them, marketing-wise. A lot of times you have problems where it's a lot of busy work. You're doing your chores, cleaning out your inventory, cleaning out your storage, mixing and matching your gear, and, putting on dyes to make everything match or look cool, color coordinated. Like, and that's all that crap you do. And before you can actually get into the main game, that's another reason I haven't really been playing Elder Scrolls Online, because I love the game, but you spend so much time just like going through the mail you get and sorting your inventory, and by the time you finally actually get to go on quests, you're like, man, I just spent 2 hours doing this bullshit. I'm kind of beat already, and that's it. So that's all I got. Then I'm going to end it there. But next week, hopefully, we'll be back. Regular time. Well, regular day. We're going to try to start a little earlier so Warchild can make it, because he's on morning shift now. So these late night shows are killer for him. And then hopefully Beard will join us. And maybe we'll have some returning hosts or some new guests and whatnot. Maybe old people will come back and whatnot. And we'll also try to follow this show up with some post-show gaming, PC or Xbox One. More like the Xbox One. I'm kind of too lazy right now to do all the Steam updates, and again, that's where console gaming is fun. It's just convenient. Start up the game, boom, done. If you're not digital, you could pop in disc, but you don't have to really mess with it as much. PC gaming, it's like, calibrate this, blah blah blah, and it's like, I do that for work. I want something simple now. Anyway, folks, if you want to keep in touch, I'm at Yogizilla on Twitter. I'm Yogizilla on Xbox Live. Feel free to friend me. a.k.a. for our main Twitter. That's the network. And we got a bunch of other great shows like Gaming Death Podcast, B-Team Podcast, Ghostman and Demon Hunter. There's a lot of great shows. I know I'm forgetting a bunch. It's just too many to mention. There's too many. But make sure you check them out. Give them some love. Facebook group. Look up Geeky Antics. Facebook page. Facebook.com/Geeky Antics. Of course, the website, geekyantics.net. And yeah, that's all the housekeeping. And I will see y'all next week. Peace.